Quilting Tale today. My name is Shaylin, and today I want to show you how to make a Schultüte, or a school cone, and I'll give you a little bit of information behind why I'm making one of these. Last week I was in Issaquah, Washington with my family. We were stopping in some shops there, including a really pretty quilt shop called Gasipium, and we also stopped at the Bohm's chocolate shop that's there, and they had a display of these Schultütes because it's back to school time, and they're a traditional German cone. Some are purchased, some are made, and this tradition has gone on for a couple hundred years or so, and they're traditionally given to students when they start their first year of school. And so Bohm's was just selling them as just celebrating back to school, and they're filled with treats and things just to welcome students to the school year and ease some anxieties about going into school. And so I thought I could try making these. My family, both my husband and my side, have German ancestry. We like to do German traditions when we learn about them, or collect objects that are German, or even dress our daughters in the traditional dirndls. And so this was just another tradition that I thought would be fun to start for back to school time. So this is the one I made, and they're typically larger cones. You could definitely make smaller ones. It would be the same process to make them. But I'm going to show you how I made this one using fabric and posterboard plus some decoration. So come on in and I will show you up close what you're going to need. Alright, so here are my must-have materials. You're going to want some fabric, and I'm making one for both girls here, and so they each picked a fabric that they liked that's kind of back to school theme, or this one's more science with outer space, but both kind of school related. You'll want to make sure your fabric is pressed, because this isn't going to be washed or worn, or any fabric is fine. I didn't use my more expensive quilt fabric on this. This is just from Joann's here. And then you'll want a piece of poster board for each. I'm going to use purple with the outer space here. If it's a lighter fabric, the background's lighter, I'd use white or a lighter color. So I'm going to demonstrate with the space themed fabric first. You're also going to need a hot glue gun. Mine is heating up right now. And then some spray adhesive. So this is Elmer's Craft Bond spray here. You'll need a pencil with some sturdy string, so I'm just using the crochet thread. You might want a chopstick or something to press things into the hot glue without burning your fingers. Fabric scissors, regular scissors, a couple wonder clips or clothespins to hold the cone's top in shape there. Now let's look at some optional materials to decorate with. I have all kinds of tulle here in different colors. You might use curling ribbon, or I have spools of different types of ribbon or trims, different thicknesses of ribbon, twine perhaps. Rickrack would work well decorating, or this was also on the rickrack aisle where you could buy it by the yard at Joann's. I also thought for the tops, if you made smaller ones, maybe like a Slurpee or Starbucks dome lid might help it keep its shape if it's smaller. The ones I'm making are not going to be that small, but it's just something you might keep in mind. So with your string and pencil, you're going to make a compass, and I will put the exact measurement of this string later. It's over 12 inches. I know maybe it's closer to 15 or 16, but I'll put the exact measurements. You'll tie it to a pencil, and the string cannot be longer than the shortest width of your poster board. So I could make this even longer and have a slightly bigger cone, but mine's not quite that long. So when you tie it to the pencil, you're going to want to hold the string at one of the right angles or corners of the poster board there, and you're going to pull your string taut to work as a compass. You can start from any side. I'll try and draw this dark so it shows up, but try and keep your string taut and hold it firmly with your thumb. get to the end, and that's going to give you your cone shape. Now we're going to cut the shape out along the line we just drew. Next, I'm going to spray the poster board with the spray adhesive. If you can see your pencil marks, I would suggest making that the side that you spray with the adhesive. So give it a shape. And this one says to spray 6 to 8 inches away. At first I do a light spray just so I can move my fabric around. And just hold it out so I don't spray my table. And then you're going to spread your fabric out. This is a 1/2 yard of fabric. You want to put it on so that you can't see any of the poster board. And again, this fabric should already be pressed or ironed so there aren't big wrinkles in it. And then I just, again, want to make sure I can't see any of that poster board on any side. And so once I've done that, I'm going to go back through and spray a little, a heavier layer so that it sticks more. And I'll just keep smoothing as I go. I don't go all the way to the edge because I'm going to be folding this over later and gluing it, so, and it just doesn't get my table as messy. So now I'm going to turn this over and use my fabric scissors to just trim, leaving about a 1/2 inch, maybe a little more, over the edge of the poster board on all sides. Next, we're going to fold over and glue, but to help it along a bit, I'm going to put a few snips. I'm going to put one that's kind of running parallel with one of my straight edges, and then every few inches or so, I'm just going to put a snip close to the edge of the poster board. If it touches right at the poster board, that's fine. And then actually for the straight edges you don't need to snip because that will just fold over straight, but just along the curved edge we want to do that. So now, this is where you're going to need your glue gun. I'm just adding a thin streak of glue, hot glue, just between snips. Hold this down, and if it's too hot to touch, this is where you might want to use that bamboo chopstick or whatever you have. You just want to make sure it's pulled tightly so it's not rippled on the other side. Now I'm going to just fold over the edge and do the same thing for the straight edges. Fold the fabric over. So Just try and tuck it in a little. I can clean it up more in a minute. Alright, my edges are all glued down, and I glued the end pieces, just folded them over neatly. And you'll want to just double check the other side to make sure it's all flat and smooth. So this looks great and everything's pulled taut on the edges. So now it's time to assemble the cone, and this is where you might want to use wonder clips or clothespins to, if you don't have someone to hold it for you in place while you glue. So start by just rolling one side, and you want to try and get the tip of the cone here, the closed portion, as closed as you can, but you also want the open end to be flat on the table, so you might have to roll around on both sides a bit. See, as I try and pinch the opening, it opens my end a bit, so just kind of pull it tight and adjust as you need to go. And so that feels good right there. I'm going to use my clips to help me hold it in place. And 3 works fine for this size cone. And then you'll want to still make sure that the bottom is as closed as you can get. If there's a little opening, that's fine. You just, whatever treats you plan on putting in, you wouldn't want them to fall through. You can also, before you clip, test on the table to make sure that it's flat. But I can see that the edges are all aligned here, so just make sure that it would sit flat on the table. So now we're going to glue again. We're going to use the hot glue gun. I'm going to start at the narrow closed end here and just press it in place. If you need to put your hand in to press from the inside, that's fine too. I'm putting the glue just about 1/4 of the inch from the edge of the cone, just so the glue doesn't seep through and you can see it. Just go a little at a time. Again, use your wooden chopstick if you need to, if this part is too hot. This has a couple layers of fabric and the poster board, so it doesn't bother my fingers, but it might bother some. Check from time to time that your cone is still staying aligned, that your clips are holding it in place. Now we're also going to put some glue where these wonder clips are. So I'm going to take one off at a time. And just kind of open the edge here and do the same thing, just a little ways away from the edge. And there you go. Again, you can stand it to make sure it stands up straight. This would actually, if you had green fabric, different types of fabric, would make a nice maybe Christmas tree centerpiece display or something if you made cones of different sizes. I was just thinking as I was looking at this. But we're making a school cone. So now comes the fun part, which is going to be decorating the cone. And so I'm going to use on this one little pom-pom rickrack here, which I'll glue around the edge. I put tulle in the sample one that I made. If I untie this bow, it just all comes open, so I can still put things in this one. But if you want to put tulle in, I glued it on the inside of the cone And then I also put some ribbon inside just to kind of clean up the edges where the tulle are. If you see that pink ribbon on the inside, I don't think that's really necessary though. I was just kind of experimenting with it. But if you want to put tulle, you can tape it, or not tape, but glue it to the inside. Or if it's very thin, you might put it on the outside and then cover it with the ribbon or whatever you're going to use. I'm going to go ahead and glue my pom-poms on now though. And since the seam is on the back here, I'm going to also start from the back just to keep all the attachment places together. And I just kind of guessed when I was in the Joann's and got this, and it looks like it'll wrap around just right. So just a thin bit along the edge. Careful not to get my pom-poms in it. I could either cut that last yellow one off, or I think I'm just going to overlap and glue the last bit down, so be a little closer there, but we'll keep that pom-pom on there. Alright, so here's how it's looking so far, and now I'm going to put the tulle inside, so again it can enclose any gifts or things. You could just leave it like this and fill it as is, and this would be perfectly fine too. But I'm going to show you how I did the tulle part now. Alright, I have these rolls of tulle that came in a package full of different colors. I'd say they're probably about 6 inches tall or so. And I just picked, for this size cone I need 5 pieces of tulle, so I just picked colors that kind of matched the fabric here. And if you just have one color, that's fine too. And I'm gonna just kind of eyeball. They don't have to be exactly the same size, but maybe about 12 inches or so of tulle. The more you have, you know, the more you can make it stick up, but this was about 12 inches of tulle to glue on the inside and have this amount sticking up, so just to give you an idea. But I'm going to just pick 5 colors. I might have some duplicates and just cut them. Again, they don't need to be exact. Alright, so I've got my 5 pieces, and I'm going to use my glue gun again. This one, because tulle is so thin, I want to use my chopstick here to press it in. But again, I'm just going to do a very light, low pressure amount of glue inside, about as wide as the tulle. I'll start with purple here. And I just want it to go about to where the fabric is folded over, so it doesn't have to go deep down there. I'm just going to press it in, and it doesn't take much to make it stick. So I'll grab a new color and just keep rotating. And if they overlap a little, that's okay. Press it down in some places. And just alternating the colors. After a few seconds, I feel like I can touch the hot glue with the tulle. And then, because I don't want my purples touching, I'm going to do another purple here. Definitely feel like I have more control with my finger, but just has to be cooled down enough to handle. Alright, now let me get my black one in. Okay, and if you don't like how it looks on the inside with the glue or the just raw edges of the tool there, and if you want to glue a ribbon in like I did in my sample one, you could do that again just by going near the edge and taping the ribbon around little by little. I'm going to leave this one as is and show you now how, again, after it's filled with treats and things, how I would tie it. So you'll want some kind of ribbon. Maybe this time I'll do the curling ribbon. A nice long piece. So pretend like it's full of gifts. I'm going to gather all the pieces of tulle gently so we don't rip it out of the cone, but you should be able to cover all the sides. Hold it up nice and tall. Give me adjustments if you need to. And then find the back where the seam is going to be and where you want the front of the bow on the opposite end. So I'm going to turn the seam away from me so I can see what I'm doing here. You can tie it up higher or lower depending on how much your gifts go over the top of the cone. Just go ahead and tie. This is where having a second person to help might make this easier, but I can do this. Alright, so I'll tie it. Make a little bow here. Or you could tie lots of curling ribbon, and the fun thing about that is if you take your scissors on the non-shiny side, you can curl it. So maybe I'll do a bunch of those. I think I might actually like that instead of the bow because the bow is so thin. So I'll go ahead and do that. I'm going to just leave it like this. Scrap the bow and just curl it. And then I'll add more of those. So you can add as much as you want, mix up the lengths of it to make it as full as you'd like. Just make sure you're running the scissors on the dull side of the ribbon, not the shimmery side. One more. So there's another one done, and so I just have to untie the ribbon and the tool can stay on it, so I can use this year after year. Again, it should, because it's fabric, last a while. I can see, as a teacher, I thought about, this might be fun to make mini ones for students. I don't know, that might be too ambitious this close to the start of the school year, but you could use wrapping paper instead of fabric. It would be less expensive if you wanted to make a bunch of these and make them smaller. But this would just be a fun way to welcome in a new school year and start a new tradition, and pick fabric or paper that the recipient would really like and reflects who they are. So I hope you'll give it a try. I'm going to fill mine with gifts now, and thank you again for watching. Please like and subscribe if you'd like to see more videos like this. A little side note, I found this, I already opened it at Costco. My daughters like those Squishmallow characters, and they have, the box looks like this, except I took everything out, and it is full of things that could fit into these school cones. So I got the food related one, and this is all that came in it. So there were all these doodling pages. I split them up in half and just tied them so they'll fit in the cone, and I can give one to each girl. But you can see there's stickers that they can color. There's a sticky note pad. large stickers. This is a little journal here. I think I'll give that to my oldest, who's starting 3rd grade. There's a little paper clip, squishy tops, cute notepads, pencils, the puffy stickers. This won't fit in, but this was cute too. It's a clipboard on the front, and then a notepad on the inside, and a little pocket folder there. And then there's some little washi tapes. Comes with 3 of them, like that. Some gel pens, another notepad, a little hamburger pencil pouch, and then 4 sheets of stickers. So I might cut these in half and give some to each girl, but that's all that came in just this one package. It's at our local Costco right now. I don't know if those are everywhere, but that was a quick way to get a bunch of cute stuff for these cones. I also found some gummy candies, little cheesecake flavored gummies for my preschooler, getting ready to start preschool. I got her some Play-Doh and bubbles, a little play pack grab and go kit that has coloring pages, stickers, and crayons, and just a little notepad that has different colors in there. I'll give her some of the Squishmallow stuff and maybe throw in a couple more treats, see what I can do to fill it, but I think these are all things that will fit in these cones and it'll be fun for the girls to get.